I've attended Abnegation's initiation ceremony every year except this one. It's a quiet affair. The initiates, who spend 30 days performing community service before they can become full members, sit side by side on a bench. One of the older members reads the Abnegation Manifesto, which is a short paragraph about forgetting the self and dangers of self-involvement. The other members, wash initiates' feet. Then they all share a meal, each person preparing food for the person on the left. The Dauntless don't do that. The initiation day plunges the Dauntless compound into insanity and chaos. There are people everywhere, and most of them are inebriated by noon. I find my way through them and get a plate of food at lunch and carry it back to the dormitory with me. On the way, I see someone fall off the path on the pit wall, and judging by his screams and the way he grabs at his leg, he's broke something. The dormitory, at least, is quiet. I stare at my plate of food I just grabbed, and what looked good to me at the time, and now that I take a closer look, I realise that I chose a plain chicken breast, a scoop of peas, and a piece of brown bread. Abnegation food. I sigh. Abnegation is what I am. It is what I am when I'm not thinking about what I'm doing. It's what I am when I'm put to the test. It's what I am even when I appear to be brave. Am I in the wrong faction? The thought of my former faction sends a tremor through my hands. I have to warn my family about the war the erudite are planning. But I don't know how. I'll find a way, but not today. Today I have to focus on what awaits me, one thing at a time. I eat like a robot, rotating from chicken to peas to bread and back again. It doesn't matter what faction I really belong to. In 2 hours, I will walk to the fear landscape room with the other initiates, go through my fear landscape and become dauntless. It's too late to turn back. When I finish, I bury my face in my pillow. I don't mean to fall asleep, but after a while I do, and I wake up to Christina shaking my shoulder. Time to go, she says. She looks ashen. I rub my eyes to press the sleep from them. I have my shoes on already. The other initiates are in the dormitory tying shoelaces and buttoning jackets and throwing smiles around like they don't mean it. I pull my hair into a bun and put on my black jacket, zipping it up to my throat. The torture will soon be over. But can we forget the simulations? Will we ever sleep soundly again with the memories of our fears in our hands? Or will we finally forget our fears today like we're supposed to? We walk to the pit and up the path that leads to the glass building. I look at the glass ceiling. I can't see daylight because the soles of shoes cover every inch of the glass above us. For a second, I think I can hear the glass crack, but it's in my imagination. I walk up the stairs with Christina and the crowd chokes me. I'm too short to see above anybody's head, so I stare at Will's back and walk in his wake. The heat of so many bodies around me makes it difficult to breathe. Beads of sweat gather on my forehead. A break in the crowd reveals what they've all clustered around, a series of screens on the wall to my left. I hear a cheer and stop and look at the screens. The screens on my left show black-clothed girl in her fear landscape room. It's Marlene. I watch her move, her eyes wide, but I can't tell what obstacle she's facing. Thank God. No one out here will see my fears, just my reactions to them. The middle screen shows her heart rate. It picks up for a second and then decreases. When it reaches a normal rate, the screen flashes green and the dauntless cheer. The screen on the right shows her time. I tear my eyes from the screen and jog to catch up with Christina and Will. Tobias stands just inside a door on the left-hand side of the room and I barely noticed the last time I was here. It's next to the fear landscape room. I walk past him without looking at him. The room is large and contains another screen, similar to the one outside. A line of people sit in chairs in front of it. Eric is one of them, and so is Max. The others are also older. Judging by the wires connected to the heads and their blank eyes, they're observing the simulation. Behind them is another line of chairs, all occupied now, and I'm the last to enter, so I don't get one. Hey, Tris, Uriah calls out from across the room. He sits with the other Dauntless-born initiates. Only 4 of them are left. The rest of them have gone through their fear landscapes already. He pats my leg. You can sit on my lap if you want. Tempting, I call back, grinning. It's fine. I like to stand. I also don't want Tobias to see me sitting on someone else's lap. The lights lift in the fear landscape room, revealing Marlene in a crouch, her face streaked with tears. Max, Eric and a few others shake off the simulation days and walk off. A few seconds later I see them on the screen congratulating her for finishing. Transfers. The order in which you go through the final test will be taken from your rankings as they now stand, Tobias says. So Drew will go first and Tris will go last. That means 5 people will go before I do. I stand in the back of the room a few feet away from Tobias. He and I exchange glances when Eric sticks Drew with the needle and sends him into his fear landscape room. By the time it's my turn, I will know how well the others did and how well I would have to do to beat them. The fear landscape are not interesting to watch from the outside. I can see that Drew is moving, but I don't know what he's reacting to. After a few minutes, I close my eyes and instead of watching, I'm trying to think of nothing, speculating about which fears I have to face and how many there are is useless at this point. I just have to remember that I have the power to manipulate the simulations and that I have practiced it before. Molly goes next. It takes her half as long as it takes Drew, but even Molly has trouble. She spends too much time breathing heavily trying to control the panic. At one point, she even screams at the top of her lungs. It amazes me how easy it is to tune out everything else. Thoughts of war on abnegation, Tobias, Caleb, my parents, my friends, my new faction fade away. All I can do is get past this obstacle. Christina is next. Then Will. Then Peter. I don't watch them. I know only how much time it takes them. 12 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and then my name. Tris. I open my eyes and walk to the front of the observation room where Eric stands with a syringe full of orange liquid. I barely feel the needle as he plunges it into my neck. Barely see Eric's face as he presses the plunger down. I imagine that the serum is liquid adrenaline rushing through my veins, making me strong. Ready? He asks.